Sauti, nasikia sauti, sauti ya mama, sauti ya mama. Sasa ni saa sita. Tano. Kumechacha, kumechacha, nimesahau kumechacha. Kumechacha. Kwaheri watoto, kwaheri mwalimu. Nasikia sauti, nasikia sauti, sauti ya mama, sauti ya mama. Sasa ni saa sita, sasa ni saa sita. Kwaheri mwalimu. We are from school. Kumechacha kweli, kumechacha. For those of you who are on the timeline right now, welcome. We're in the process of sharing the video to our timeline, so please do so for your friends. Let them know we are on Kumechacha. I don't talk when I'm eating. This is supposed to be good manners, as someone told me. It looks yummy. We'll talk about it. Sweet potato. My black tea. It's funny how you can hear mom's voice all the way from your school. When you had to run 25 kilometers, you couldn't hear her, but when mom is calling at one. Okay, Grace. Habari ya asubuhi. Nakwambia kumechacha. Kumechacha. Kumechacha leo ingawaje my mouth is full of breakfast, but kumechacha. Welcome live Saturday 11 a.m. 6 p.m. in Kenya. From Tujipange Studios, Philadelphia, kumechacha. Kumechacha kweli, na jana tulisema kutachacha, na leo kumechacha. It is hot in the diaspora. Yes, it is. Welcome to our show this morning. So, Grace, what are we talking about this morning? We have a lot. Did you say hello to everyone? Hujambo. Hujambo. Wambaje watu wa Mombasa. Chamge watu wa Rift Valley. I forgot the Kisi community last time. Maureen, no. Biore, my brothers and sisters. That's true. Yeah. Welcome everybody from Kenya, where you're calling in from Doha, Qatar. We see you from DMV. We see you, Patricia. I'm giving you a special call out from the Netherlands. Thanks for watching our show. Thanks for watching our show. Yes. Yeah. So we have exciting things today. So we are here to sip our tea. Yeah. And don't worry, we brought extra reinforcements for what we have today. Look at this. Yes, and I'm gonna add a little. A little sugar. The Grace, you don't take much sugar. I don't take much sugar. Here, look, the tea for the sugar for you. Great, yeah. And being Kenyan, I use the same spoon. Like I have to learn to use separate spoons. One for sugar, one for tea. I just mix all my sugar, the same tea, the same spoon for tea, and the same spoon for sugar. Just being Kenyan in the USA. That's true. As you said, it's freedom and it's options. So. Let's talk about breakfast. I saw you eating already in the when we just started recording. What are you eating? Yes, this is my breakfast. Our breakfast today, just sweet potatoes, and then we have French toast. Let's see, let the French toast. See. This is made with just dipping your bread in egg, just beaten egg, and then pan frying it. The French toast ya nyumbani. French toast ya nyumbani. Yeah. So you can add sugar, you can add salt, or you can just do it plain if you don't take a lot of sugar. So we're going to talk about self-care. Okay. Yes. Just always checking in with you how your week went. We know every week we want to know how did it go at the office, how did it go at home with your family. Are you talking to your children, or your children have been grounded and you're not seeing them today? They're going back to school, so you've reached the end of the rope, so it's just shopping. Like the shopping list is so long. Remember how we used to write a long shopping list for our parents to go to school, and they would cut it by half. I don't know if that still happens. They give you one budget, but the line stops here. Yeah. So how did your week go? Those who are in hospital, were you treated well by the doctors and the nurses? In your career, is your career going well? Did you lose a family member? Did you lose a spouse? Did you lose a best friend? Did you lose a loved one? Did you lose your housing? So much goes on during the week that by Saturday morning you start wondering, like, is the world coming to an end. But we want to encourage you, as we do every Saturday morning. That is all in the past. That was yesterday. Yes. Every new minute, every new second, every new hour is a new promise. It's a new moment. So, Grace, what did you do for your self-care this week?
Well, you know, for my self-care, I decided that I was going to go back and find my an old novel that I'd put aside. I know that if I'm not reading, if I'm not engaging in continuous acts of improving myself, there's something I need to catch up on. So that's what I did this week, and I was really glad that I did so. I found something interesting. What about you?
Oh, well, you might find this interesting, but for me, self-care this week was saying no. It's been so hard for me to say no to a lot of things, to a lot of people, saying no to friends, saying no to when I should say no, saying yes when I should say no. So it's been difficult for me, but this week I decided to say no because I found myself overwhelmed. I just launched my book. I just published my book. I've been marketing it. The other thing is I've been waiting to get my puppies that were arriving this morning. So I've been out shopping. Remember, we went shopping for puppy food, puppy pads. I've been up and down. I've been having working some evening hours. So all of a sudden I found myself overwhelmed. So I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to attend church on Sunday. You know, I'm supposed to go to a friend's event. And then we've had all these overwhelming issues on Facebook where we have donations, like people are doing asking for donations for their birthdays, and I have 1,400 friends on Facebook. So I've had a problem choosing, like every day, it's every other day my friends have birthdays. I love you all, my friends, but how am I going to donate to a cause for 1,000 people?
It's so easy.
It's really been challenging for me. And how do I donate for one friend and not donate for another? And then the other friend will see, because Facebook just shows everything. They'll be like, oh, Grace donated for so and so and not for so and so. So I've had to say no to some donations. I've had to pick, like, should I go with maybe a medicine bill, a hospital bill, or a medical bill, or someone who really, really needs it, like immediately. Although the non-profits also need their donations, but that's been a challenge for me. So I've had to say no. I've lost 1 or 2 friends, but it wasn't in bad faith. I just couldn't donate like I think this week 400 of my friends had a birthday.
So self-care is really important,
really
like
important.
Especially on the aspect of saying no. At some point, you have to like shift priorities, you know. Like,
yes, and when you don't get your priorities right, when you get your priorities wrong and you get overwhelmed,
you get burnt toast.
You get burnt toast. So I was busy making the French toast this morning.
This beautiful
one. And look what happened, because I was running all over. I was picking a phone call. I was sending some money. I was waiting for Grace's phone call. I was waiting for the dogs to arrive. But I was preparing for the show, looking at my laptop. So this is what happens. Don't get burnt.
Multitasking.
Women are saying to me, I was ironing my dress, our Kenyan dresses for the show. So I'm saying no, and I'm learning to pace myself, do a list, do a to-do list, and do one thing at a time.
Priorities.
So pick which toast you like better. Which one do you like better? Which one is eatable? Is this your life? Is this your life?
What
or is this your life? Or is this your life?
Analogy. I don't know.
Choose your life. Choose your life from these 2 toasts. Kumechacha.
I don't know, my sister. When you were talking about self-care, another thing is food. So this is, I don't know if you told our friends about sweet potatoes. So I tried to go to the supermarket next to me. Has sweet potatoes that I think are very close to the sweet potatoes that we eat back in Luoland in some cases.
Yeah.
But it's not all the way.
Yeah.
But this is part of self-care. When you go and you say, okay, I feel at home. So don't forget that food is also part of self-care. So as you're having breakfast, what are you eating? And if you're not eating, I hope you're making something.
And Grace, remember that food is medication.
Food is medication.
If you are taking medication, and even if you're not taking medication, food is medication. You need the proteins, you need the carbohydrates, you need the calories to build your system. Because a lot of the times, every surface, everywhere is kind of has some bacteria. When you're touching the doors, opening the doors, hanging on the rail of the bus,
so dirty.
Everything is dirty, you know. So you need to eat well, so that when those bacteria, the viruses meet the food, you know, they go boxing, fighting. I see
boxing,
that.
And don't forget fruit as boosters. So we're having is this mango?
Yeah, we have mango. Mango is my favorite. What's your favorite?
I love mango. Mango is pretty up there.
And then we have something. I wanted to check in the dictionary, But can someone tell us what Sandara is called?
It's not a tangerine or
yeah, it's tangerine.
It's tangerine.
It is tangerine.
Sandara.
Yeah. So yeah, just some people are called. Hi Sandra.
Hi.
Sandra Collett. We are not talking about you. We're talking about the orange.
So eat well.
Yeah. So
yes.
I'm just trying to share the page. Yes.
Yeah.
But So let's continue.
Yeah. So in the scheme of medicine, there are people, our friends among us, that there are some problems happening at home, and some people need medication. There's a big issue happening in our families. In our sometimes when our family members visit our own. In our countries, we find a situation that is quite interesting, that needs a cure, or I don't know, vaccine or what it is. But a situation where a mother-in-law has come into the US to visit the home, and the mother-in-law was supposed to visit for 2 weeks, but now 6 months have passed. Mom is okay, mom is relaxing, enjoying the breeze. Kwanzaa in Texas, there's no winter. So mom is fine, mom is okay. But the daughter-in-law has a different story to tell.
Yeah, but Grace, what she was saying, what the mother-in-law does not want the daughter to work at night.
Whoa,
she says, how can a married woman go out to work at night? This is America. We remember we have the freedom to have 3 jobs in a day. 3 jobs in 24 hours.
Pass each other in the night.
The mother-in-law wants to see the daughter-in-law at 5 o'clock at home, making for her dinner and playing with the children.
Wow.
And the other challenge she has is that she wants the child, who is the boy is about 10 years, to speak the mother tongue. We won't say, because we respect your privacy. I'm sorry, viewers who asked us to bring the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law and the son here. We can't do that. Heshma. Yeah.
We respect them.
We're not there to embarrass them, but we want, this is a problem that's going on in the US. We have parents visiting and not going back and abandoning back home. They're
and it's not just parents, it's brothers, sisters, cousins friends. Yeah. So just invite me, and after a few months, you're finding that you have an unpaying tenant, or you have another mouth to feed on a semi-permanent basis. And the mother has demands, has specific demands according to kitamaduni or culture, as you would call it. But you didn't say that the mom, let me tell you this kitamaduni, the mother-in-law left the husband, yani the husband's father, in Kenya, ailing.
The man, we are told, is so sick that he cannot go to the bathroom by himself. He can't walk. He's all alone. And the kids are not there anymore. No, the children are not there anymore. I think this was their son. This was their son, This was the son who was helping them.
So the daughter-in-law Mesema, no, this is America. We are free. We are free now, free from bonds of oppression, free from bonds of customs. So she's ready to call the Homeland Security. She's ready to make a call on ICE for the mother-in-law. Yeah,
when the mother-in-law said that she's going to strip herself naked. In our African culture, you're not supposed to see the nakedness of your mother.
Yes.
So to see the nakedness of your mother-in-law, for her to strip for you, and gumo, I don't know what's gumo in English?
Like a squat or something?
Yeah, no, it's worse than squat. It's another angle. It's another.
Is that angle where this one?
It's called the casting angle. It's almost 360 degrees, maybe between 90 and 170. That gumo, it charges. It charges.
It's just that one where they're about to make a pronouncement.
Yeah, so our concern is should you... By the way, the son has not said anything.
Quiet in the matter.
Quiet. This is his mother. He's being forced to choose between his mother and his wife. Yeah, and this is the mother. Remember the last 2 weeks we talked about breast milk and how
maendeleo ya maziwa
na watoto. The son is keeping safe and letting the mother and the wife deal with it. Yeah, so we just wonder, is it the right thing to do? Should you call ICE? ICE here is hot. This ICE that collects immigrants and puts them in detention camps and puts you on a plane right to Nairobi.
The opposite of what
that ICE is not cold. That ICE is hot.
It is lying to us.
So is this the best solution to?
So we'll even start with who's the one justified in this matter. As the mother-in-law, you are coming, I can imagine with the great pride that you have when you are able to bring your parent to visit in the United States. That's everyone, that maybe the mother-in-law has told everybody in the community.
Yes.
She has gone. she has gone, Mehama, she has moved to the US, you know?
Yes.
So the implications of even what that means for the mother to go back, what, you know, who's justified in that situation? Is the mother justified?
And what is wrong, actually, what is wrong with the son learning a second language?
Yeah.
Because we are learning Spanish, we're learning French, we're learning German. It doesn't really harm, because the grandmother and the grandson cannot communicate, because the grandmother does not speak English. Then the other complaint she had was that the mother was calling home every time,
spending the
bills, making the bills high. Yeah. So since we talked of freedoms in the US, since the mother-in-law has found her freedoms, what is wrong with the daughter-in-law also just continue with hers? And why can this couple sit together and maybe apply for citizenship, or apply for change the mother's status? And okay, her status is expired, but how can they help her become a citizen and also help bring the father over?
I think one important feedback is, like, it seems like it's a war, but in some ways they need, you know, it's not a fight. It doesn't need to be a fight. We say that sometimes when you come you go to the diaspora, sometimes it's a freeing experience for a lot of people. So how can you find freedom in what you have? Can you sit with the mom-in-law and say, wow, you really want to stay here? You know, how can we assist you? But this has to be done. I think I think even as we're having this conversation, we're thinking about culture. You know, even though we're in the US and we have all these options, we're always thinking about respect. This is an issue of respect to all people.
Yeah, but if we were to follow culture as required traditionally, the mother-in-law can stay in the son. Can the mother-in-law stay in the the mother-in-law can stay in the son's house. She can.
So it's a very tricky situation, and something that maybe the sister in question is justified. You know, maybe it's very hard for her. It's a 24-hour economy. Everyone has bills to pay. Who knows what the implication of that extra mouth to feed? Because to be honest, you have to consider that. What is that having on her? You know, what impact? Who's going to teach the child? Is it then for her to teach the child in addition to paying for daycare? How are these things? You know, there's a lot of things that can be happening at the core. And where's this man? Where's the
where's the man? Why can't he say? Why can't he? You know, it's a little tricky for him. But really, if someone wants to send your mother back home, how do you handle it? It's kind of, I don't know whether there are a lot of grandmothers here. I don't know what you viewers think, but a lot of grandmothers here can be nannies. They can make money, you know.
It has happened
has happened a lot. So give us your suggestions about what you think, how you think this situation can be handled. But we do think the mother-in-law can be maybe given a fair chance. ICE and Homeland Security is not the best issue.
And if you don't forget that if you call, you may be calling the fire closer to you.
When the neighbor's house is burning.
So when you're busy calling, you know, who knows what the implication of doing that is.
And remember that they don't just take you to the airport direct. This mother-in-law, if she's picked by Homeland Security, she's going to be in a detention camp for a long time. It might be up to 6 months before her lawyer is even allowed to see her. Remember what they did with the children.
That's scary.
Before they're even allowed to see her. So do you want your mother-in-law in a detention camp or in your husband's house? But again, the mother-in-law should not really like dictate on what time you should come home. You know, she's a guest. You know, deciding what time the daughter-in-law should go to work, you know, or come back. And what language the child should speak. Because can you imagine this 10-year-old American child speaking in what should you say? Oh, yeah, we're right. Yeah, we're right, bro. Still naughty. Anything naughty. Mama.
Let's not even go even far. But sometimes with an accent, even sometimes you can't hear the children when they speak.
And they speak here.
Hi, grandmother, what do you want to have breakfast? So your grandmother is busy, like, you know, trying to, you know. So it's, I think there's an opportunity for there to be a resolution. So our concerned friend in Texas, please slow down a bit. It's okay. Maybe bring your side of the family into it. I don't know.
And then you could also open up to your mother-in-law and just ask her. You know, she could open up to you if you are kinder to her. She could open up to you and tell you why she really does not want to go home. Maybe the issues at home. Maybe your father-in-law has some young girl, some young nurse in the hospital.
With a Tuoli, anything is possible.
With a Tuoli, all things are possible. And with a Kenyan law that now allows for polygamy, there's no smoke without fire. So Grace, let's move on to our next program.
So thank you for, I hope we get some feedback on you on the mother-in-law situation. And next we're going to talk about, I don't see any, I see some people watching. Asante for joining us. Thank you for joining us on Kumechacha. I don't see any comments yet. Yes, that's okay. So our next topic.
Well, can someone tell us if they can see us?
Mkoapi. So the next topic that we were talking about is Facebook and is there life after death, forced life after death, however you choose to call it.
Yes.
So when we're talking about your family members and loss and the memorial that happened this weekend, I'm sorry, my sister, when we're talking about, you know, getting closure after death, and then one of the things that you see is that you continue to see the person's social profile on Facebook wherever you interact with them. Maybe they're there as family or friend or even spouse or loved one. When you continue to see that, or when you're seeing Ujambo Stella, and you continue to see maybe their phone contacts show up, or even Twitter or Instagram, how do you deal with that? How have you dealt with that with the past? We thought it would be important to share and talk a little bit about what that around that issue. So
so a friend of mine used to say, here today, gone tomorrow. So a lot of us are on Facebook. Facebook has become the new family for almost everybody. We are there 24 hours and we are there showing our lives. We are showing off our kitchens. We are showing off our successes, our achievements. We are showing off our vacations, our holidays. We are showing off our newborn babies. You know, this is where the action is. So but then the next thing you see on Facebook is that a friend has passed on, or the people are now even using Facebook to for funeral advertisements, funeral committees. But what's important is, after you're gone, what happens with your Facebook page? After you're gone, what happens with your phone contacts of the person? What do they do with their phone contacts? So we're saying a lot of people have decided to either memorize the Facebook page of their loved ones who have died. So just last week, Saturday 18th, we did a pre-recorded show because we were doing the memorial of my sister. And I couldn't go to her page. I couldn't get myself to go to her Facebook page because I thought maybe friends have posted something. And then there are people on Facebook who, when you post that you've lost a sister, a brother, a husband, wife, a grandmother, they laugh. They show the laughing. I don't know why they laugh when someone dies. This world is a strange. Yeah, the emoji. They put a laughter. So I don't know whether they like the person or they hated the person. Yeah, but for you to, how do you deal with the situation where someone has died and they're on Facebook?
Yeah, you know, the thing, I think the thing that really catches me about that part is like the lack of control that you have over it. Sometimes people grieve in their own time, and people hold on to certain things that that remind them. Some people grieve in different ways. I still have my grandmother's 1,000 boys in the freezer. You know, I still have that omena that she gave me in 2015, and it's, you know, it's sometimes irrational, but it's something that I still feel connected to that piece. But there's such a difference in it being, you still see it, you still like kind of look traumatized by it every time you see it because it's out of your control. You don't control when you see it. It just pops up. Sometimes it's out of your control.
Yes.
You can't control that type of like
the emotion. And Facebook says that 580,000 people are gonna die from Facebook in a year.
In the US,
580,000 people in the US are going to die from Facebook. And
may God keep us all.
May God keep us all. So out of the 580,000 of us on Facebook, out of all the people in the US this year, 580,000 Facebook users are going to die. So a lot of people have been sending requests to Facebook, like, what do we do with our page? Because are you going to close it down? Should you deactivate it? So Facebook came up with something called memorabilia, where you memorize the page of a loved one. Because for some people, those are the only pictures. For children who've not been born, for the forthcoming generations, those are the only pictures that they'll ever see of their family. So what Facebook requires from you is that to give you that power of attorney to memorize that page is to send Facebook email, go to the help desk, and they will you can send the death certificate of the person who has died. That's what they require, and your social security number. And then they will allow you to memorize that page. So they will put the death certificate of the person on the page. Because some people have been posting stuff on other people's page. If they had the password, some girlfriends or boyfriends have been going into a dead person's Facebook page and posting nasty things, you know, like the things they wanted to post to the ex of the girlfriend, because a lot of our husbands, partners have got their exes as their Facebook friends. These are the realities of Facebook. So if you were stalking them when they were alive and they didn't give you their password, now they're dead, you're going in and posting, inboxing messages to your husband's ex or your partner's ex. So Facebook now gives you the authority to close that page from the public and allow you to keep the password and just put the death certificate, so that you yourself can post, your family members can post. They can post, we remember you, we are out today, you know, we used to have Thanksgiving, but you're not here today, we remember you. So I think that's beautiful. But really, it's a very, very personal thing. That's all I can say.
Yeah, so I think the
Hi, Nico, good to obey. Thank you for joining us. And thanks, Yolana Duplessis.
Yolana Duplessis. Hi,
welcome to Jipange Saturday Breakfast Show.
So I'll say that I think that the most crucial part of this is that, you know, grieving is a very personal process, and sometimes when you see these elements that are flying outside of your control and have the potential to be malicious, the person is not there to stand in for themselves, obviously, and also it continues to re-traumatize. It's one thing when you have, you know, I was on the opinion of maybe it's not wrong that the person's Facebook page is there, like you said. Maybe it's a way to continue memoriam. It's a time maybe you see the person's post that when the person was happier, you know, but there's such a malicious intent that can be there. And also remember that grieving is not just you. Don't be selfish in your grief.
Yes,
so even as you're going through that process and maybe your process is acting out and pretending to be the person, and it's not always a malicious thing. Maybe you're just there, you want to continue that memory, but remember there are other people who are watching. There are other people who are connected to this person and people that can be potentially affected when this thing continues to perpetuate. So I think that, you know, find a way. If it's so important for you to have a memorial, then maybe if it's important that you close a Facebook page, you close that story, the person, it's not for you to control. You just close that picture and find a better way to memorialize the person that you love, you know?
Yes.
And this goes the same for Twitter. If you want to remove the person's account on Twitter, remember they need like confirmation. You can't just email someone and say, oh, this person died, close, because of course they anticipate that. You send updated information by mail, by fax, which we've seen information on Facebook and on Twitter, where you can close the page on their behalf or create a memorial for it.
So Nick Gutu is asking what's the topic today. Nick, you just missed a very interesting topic, but we'll be posting this on Facebook and you'll get all our videos are on YouTube. Our first topic was about self-care. What have you done? Because a lot of the time we are overwhelmed with care, with work, everyday work, that sometimes you get so busy you even burn your French toast. So, or if this shows a balanced life, this shows a balanced life. This is how you should your life should look. You know, well balanced. You know, setting your priorities right. And when you don't do things right and you're busy everywhere doing everything and you can't say no to people, this is what you end up with. So this was one of the choices, self-care.
You know, another thing that we want to acknowledge is sometimes maybe your week was not bad. You know, and that's great. You know, keep up the good work. You know, some weeks are better than others. You know, so you said, you know, there are weeks where some weeks are better than others. So we acknowledge for you that had great weeks, had great moments. Keep up the good work. Keep the blessings going and the gratitude going. For those of you who had ups and downs, maintain that self-care. You've made it this far, and you keep going.
You can keep going. And our second topic, which we are discussing right now, is how do you deal with the telephone call, the Facebook post, the email of a member of the family or a friend who has died? Do you keep it or do you delete it? Have you ever got a phone call from someone who was already dead and buried?
That's so scary, actually.
And someone actually took their phone and continued using it but didn't tell you. So when you pick the phone, you're told, oh, the person passed on. You know, so should you delete all the contact numbers of someone you loved and have died and is buried? Should you keep their phone numbers?
But also
or should you keep the memory? Should you keep the textbooks? And for what purpose are you keeping the number?
And is it that with the age of technology, right? Is it, are we a segment of the population? Are there other people that in the age of technology and media, they've seen people come and go? Like you said, a lot of people live on Facebook now or live on social media. It's gotten to a point where people are just like accepting it for what it is. It's become part of their culture or,
So a friend of mine told me when we were researching this week that they would rather keep the text or the voicemail, because sometimes they just want to hear that voice. So as Grace said earlier, we have different ways of grieving, and if keeping the contacts and the the text, that the information that you used to share and hearing their voices is what your healing process is, because we all have different healing processes, then that's okay. You can keep the contacts or you can delete them and just forget them forever. So it's like keeping a photo album or banning. Some people ban pictures of those who have died, or they ban pictures of people who have they've broken up with. So it's really like a personal decision.
Yeah, it really is a personal decision. But don't be mindful of your personal decision to have the effect others. Bad or too high, we're still alive. Yeah, so if you want to memorialize the picture, the Facebook page of your loved one, you can send the death certificate to Facebook, and they will give you the details of how only you can do that closure and allow other people to post. So, and Grace, what else? What are we coming to? So, we are here to say that to all the parents who are watching us right now, I'm sure the school shopping list, especially if you are in the US, Philadelphia, schools are opening on August 27th. That is Monday. Yes. We have seen some very amazing school supply lists.
Nasikia sauti, nasikia sauti, sauti ya mama. Sasa ni saa sita, sasa ni saa sita. Walimu kwaheri.
So at that point,
watoto kwaheri.
The children here are crying because they're going back to school. And it got us to thinking a lot about how the US system and the interesting things we've noticed about that, and also about how we went to school.
We went to school at this time of the year.
The two of us,
which exam did you do?
The two of us are from very completely different regimes. I was an 844 student, so I did my KCPE, Kenya Certificate of Primary Education. And you, Grace?
I was an A-level student. I was a Certificate of Primary Education System. And we are the people who, when we had our results, the teachers, the headmaster went and posted it on the notice board where everybody from the market, whether you are Kisumu, Jubilee Market, Kibuye Market, everybody who was passing through, people would come from the estates, from Kondele and everywhere to come and see your results.
At least that's they get it in the schools.
The AAA meant Advanced Access to Alliance Girls or Alliance Boys High School. The DDD meant Doyo Duarigala. Digging, drainage in Dandora.
They want you in the village.
They want you
for the work.
So they really discourage people, like even if you had a special skill, once you didn't get that AAA, B minus, and you got these, they say now you're ready for Mutafari. You know the Mutafari, the quarry job. They say you're ready to go and do the quarry job. Yes.
That was your entrance.
Yeah.
So we were saying about schools are opening on the 27th in Philadelphia, and we were remarking upon the school supply list, some of the school supply list things that you see that I don't think anyone will ever see in Kenya. If anyone sees
the children here are privileged. Like they even have special, what do you call the special?
Hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer. You have to buy hand sanitizer.
Paper towels. Earbuds. Baby wipes.
Clorox. You have to shop. If you think that you're shopping a lot for your kids and it's expensive, the children here it's quite intense. Something else.
There's a lot of we're going to not all education systems are perfect. In the US, not all education systems are equal. In some places, there's a lot of need for students where a lot of teachers have to dip into their personal pockets to get money. So even in the school supply list, they have requests for markers, crayons, something to rub the board with. It's a lot of things, and you see.
But the difference here is, though, they don't allow kids to carry such heavy books. Because if a child begins to have some backache, I tell you, you will be in court.
That's definitely an 844.
That's an 844 thing. So, did you have any problems with carrying all these heavy books?
So let me give you a bit of the 844. 844 stands for 8 years of primary education, 4 years of high school, and 4 years of at least of tertiary education. So that meant that within the first maybe 5 years, we were studying 7 subjects, and all the teachers want all the textbooks to be bought, all the notebooks to be bought, the set, you need to buy the set pens. And not only that, you need to carry those books back and forth every day. Because now your mom has said, these books are
I didn't see any books.
The books are not sleeping in this primary school.
You mean you're
carrying them back and
carrying the books back and forth?
You're walking around like a bucket seller.
My teacher had a big cupboard. And all our books, after we finished class, all the books were kept in the cupboard. I had this little green bag, and it was just full of raw mangoes, maembe. So we would climb trees and eat raw mangoes and keep some in our bags. And we really played a lot. We didn't have homework, but that did not stop us from going to college. That did not stop us from developing careers. So I don't understand the 844 system, but I remember all the songs. Oringo bayo yo oringo bayo yo we crazy do bele pigamagoti. Okay, say my jingly.
See, they denied that from us in school.
Yeah, oh, we played until we looked like crazy. Then we looked like the Dutchies. We got so dirty that our parents could not recognize us when we got home.
You know, it's because of the CPE system that we have the music that we sing in our music choirs today. Because no, those are songs I
want to stop singing
the song that the CPE students had the opportunity to do in school. We could only do it within the music context. It was something they had to create time about to decide of your school. As it was carrying books, maybe we played Scamares. Now
Is this ringa roses? So what we are trying to say is that the play and really made us creative.
Yeah.
Because they let us develop our own skills. They made us develop ways of surviving. We played kalongolongo, you know.
It was more integrated.
It was more integrated.
I know. I was reading our system, the 844 system that was mentioning. The 844 system came into effect in 1985, and that system which was introduced by President Moi at the time was geared towards moving people to technical and vocational skills.
So our system was moving people towards university.
Okay.
Yeah, and also just learning to kind of survive.
And what was it like? Like how many years did you do?
So we did 7 years of primary school, and then 4 years of secondary school, and then 2 years of A level. If you made it past Form 4, you went to high school and did 2 years A level and then to university. If you made it to Form 4, then you joined the diploma college. But you could also join university after diploma college. But what was really the most important thing was to play. We played, we sang, we played, we sang.
844. Even we had PE in our curriculum, but it was something where either the teachers were not there or they just let us play kati, bladder, rounders. Those were games that I loved personally. So the 844 system is, as of 2017, they are phasing out the 844 system. So
we come to this new state of the art, education.
Yeah.
If you thought that the wildebeest migration is the greatest wonder, one of the 7th wonders of the world, Kenya has come up with a new reverse migration. And this migration is in education.
Vision 2030.
Vision 2030. They're now teaching children. They've picked a few schools. Those of you who want to learn more about this can go to the Matiang'i report of 2017 from the Ministry of Education. They're going to create a state-of-the-art education where the teachers are going to be miracle workers. If they have any kids who are like dumb or kids who don't pass math, chemistry, physics, they're all going to pass. Kenya is going to have the greatest quality of education in the world that will make people start migrating.
You'll find John Smith
to
Kenya University.
Yes.
You will find
these Americans you see here, Europeans, Indians, they're all coming to Kenya. And Kenyans who came to diaspora, maybe you should start getting your ID cards and your passports and go back because your spaces there will be claimed. So this new state-of-the-art education has been created where you have we're going to have senior high school in Kenya, senior law school, you know, and special skills school. That's what's coming.
So let's give you a little bit of a breakdown on what that looks like. They're saying that this education system is an overhaul towards the goal of Vision 2030. They are aligning it with the UN, UNICEF, etc. And the goal is to create an engaged, empowered, and ethical citizen. So they're starting from infancy. That is the hope that they're starting with. So it's composed of 2 years of pre-primary, so pre-primary 1, pre-primary 2, and then you do 3 years, which is what you would call class 1, 2, and 3, which is lower primary, upper primary, which is 4, 5, and 6, and then in 7, when you go to class 7, class 7, 8, and 9. So 9 is the one which is Form 1, you would say. That would be classified as lower secondary, and the senior school would be what you classify as the Form 2, 3, and 4. So what is significant about this, what I saw is the addition of those 2 pre-primary lessons. I think they take for, not every child has an opportunity to go to pre-primary before getting onto the class 1 education, because one is not free. So a lot of parents don't have the ability to go take their children to kindergarten or daycare. Sometimes the child is interacting with the school the first day, class 1. So it's designed to create a sense of culture. So from that on, you learn from the foundations to building you to a point where you can build vocational skills. So by the time you get to senior school, you've already taken all these subjects you've selected. By that point, you can choose whether you're going into a STEM path, if you're going to a social sciences path, or if you're going to an arts and sports track. I've seen something interesting I saw is that
Mohammed Jackson, thank you for joining us.
They're saying that they'll have provisions for you to study even indigenous language. This was something that we never saw.
So now you can, they're bringing back indigenous languages they're bringing back indigenous languages to classes, to schools. So we go back to our first story of the mother-in-law who was forcing the child to speak mother tongue, and the parents don't want to do that. It's coming back to Kenya now. You're gonna be learning your languages in school. So I don't know if is this going to be according to the region?
I believe that it's going to be according to the region, especially if you're starting from a young age. You know,
and do they say what the purpose of this is? Because I think if we learn Swahili and English, it determines how much tribalistic someone can be.
So of course, one of the languages that are taught is English. You can learn Kiswahili or the Kenya Sign Language for folks who are going into the special skills school.
Oh, do you remember the man who pretended he knew sign language?
In South Africa.
In South Africa. At Nelson Mandela's, President Nelson Mandela's funeral or memorial, God rest his peace, the man pretended he knew sign language. So he was just making funny signs, like goodness. So we don't want that in Kenya. We want you to we want to introduce this to school so that you can learn sign language and, you know, be nice, be a good person who can translate the right thing. Because it's also an abuse. You're abusing someone who is a challenge, you know, who cannot speak like you, you know, and trying to playing monkey tricks, you know, that was really sad.
So I think the indigenous language thing is a great idea, because more and more people are seeking to identify, and also you can get into study of language, and they can be professionals who can advance our indigenous languages. That adds culture, which is one of the things that they were trying to capture. They were mentioning that aspect of culture. If you're going to be an ethical, empowered, engaged citizen, those need to be part of your arsenal and toolkit.
So Grace, if you were to learn an indigenous Kenyan language, you already know your language. Which one would you pick out of the 44? We didn't create the 44 tribes of Kenya. The 44 Samcho, Kericho.
Yes,
the Indian community.
Yes, Karibuni. I think I would learn, the first thing that came to my mind was Kisamburu.
Oh, you'd learn Kisamburu.
I don't know if that's the right word. Please forgive me if I'm not mentioning correctly, but I would like to learn something in a language that's in the arid areas.
Okay.
Yeah, what about you?
I would, I don't know. There's so many languages to pick from. But maybe I would learn, wow.
Kitaita.
I would learn one of the coastal songs. Maybe it's a difficult choice. It's a difficult choice. If I was 6 years old, I would let my parents choose for me which Kenyan second languages, because each language in Kenya is so beautiful. When you hear their music, when you hear their culture, it's just also beautiful. It's hard to choose. But I would like to know more of my language, because there's some words that are like so intense. I've been seeing some Luo ecology and everything. I would like to learn more about that, my history, where we came from, understand we are actually Egyptians. I'm not sure.
You know, we come from everywhere.
Are you an Egyptian, Grace?
I don't know. Maybe descended somewhere.
Descended somewhere along the way. Are you a Babylonian?
I don't think.
Are you the ones who are enslaving people?
I don't think my hair shows Babylon.
Yeah,
but I think it's important to have, especially I know even when you try speaking indigenous language, you would get beaten. I think it would be great to have a platform where children can learn about language and not have to feel guilty or feel like in a safe space. So
I don't know, but I don't know if the report talks about the purpose of learning, teaching every child their language, their mother tongue, or I don't know.
I saw it. That's what I'm saying. A lot of it has to do with culture and the advancement of, I think they were referring to orthographics. So trying to build up that side as like a legit thing, you know, like honoring. I think it's important to be authentic. And another thing is ICT. They're saying that they want to incorporate ICT in all aspects of their learning. And this is where I'm a bit.
You mean there's electricity now and laptops in every village?
I know there's so many things being.
When you last went home, was there electricity everywhere?
No. One of the things that's very interesting about our country, there's a lot of things that can be signed into law, but that doesn't mean that they'll be implemented. Or, you know, because one of the teachers, these are the teachers are being charged with introducing this 2663 curriculum. And, you know, what preparation, a lot of teachers, some teachers were saying, do we have preparation to execute this curriculum in an effective way? You know, did you really solve the problems of 844 if it was that big of an issue? You know, are we getting involved in this? Are we setting ourselves up for failure? If the primary school are free laptops for every child, have not gotten to every child. Free sanitary towels, we can wait to see what that does. Free high school education. There's a lot of free going out there. But what does that mean for our students in 2 years, in 20 years, when we want to do reverse brain drain?
And we really do hope that as they introduce the IT system and bring computers in every corner of Kenya, that there'll be no corruption. Because as humans, some of us are human rights activists, and we are going to come out strong to ensure that when they promise these things, they'll reach right at the corner of every corner of every place. From Sambweni, Rwanda Kotieno, my favorite beach, to Mfangano Island, to Suba, everywhere, you know, and not just around the cities or in particular areas. So we want to really, it would be nice for them to give us a really proper plan. Ministry of Education Kenya, give us a proper plan of how you intend to digitalize every Kenyan student.
It looks great on paper.
It looks great on paper, but is it a gateway to corruption?
Is it a gateway? And with all this,
I mean, how do you provide laptop before you provide food? How do you provide laptop before you even provide a chair, a dirty wooden chair for a child to sit on? How do you provide laptop for 60 children sitting in one classroom?
Did you see the photo a few weeks ago about the teacher who was teaching Microsoft on a blackboard outside? Is that the type of situation you want to bring
what exactly are you talking about? Like this report, we are going to analyze it. We'll be pulling it down onto Jipange na kutachacha with this report, because we want our children, we want Kenyans to get the best care. If it's the best education, it's this laptop. How are Americans going to migrate to Kenya, like wildebeest through the river, through the river Mara, to come and sit in a dusty classroom without electricity? Hey, come on now.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So it's a great plan. So we want to wait and see, and we want parents to be on the watch. They said they will pick a few schools, so we want to see which schools these are and how it has started working, whether it's working or not.
Education needs to be move more and more into a right for everybody rather than a privilege, because we know in our systems, 844 created a system in which, you know, if you were rich, you had access to different, it's like we're living in a different country, in a different educational system, and that stratified our system to the point where now we're having such a big skills gap, and people may learn technical skills, but being innovative and creative are not things that have been supported by schools in the past. And that's why some of us are inspired to move into different countries to pursue lines of study that will appreciate you know, the non-cramming lifestyle, because as we crammed for a living.
That's what I was wondering. I never attended any tuition. I just first heard the word tuition later on in my life.
If you didn't go to tuition, people looked down upon you. You know, and that was something that
but I do remember though, in secondary school, in the chemistry class, they used to make us cram, and now, like, how many years? Almost 40 years later, I can still remember. The teacher standing right in front of the class. Matter is made of tiny indivisible particles called atoms. Atoms can neither be created nor destroyed. All atoms belong to one body of something called molecules. You know, an enzyme is a substance.
I know you are a teacher, so I like this one.
I was a teacher for many years.
Molecules. You know, chemistry is one of my favorite subjects.
An enzyme is a substance that breaks down reaction but remains chemically unchanged at the end of the reaction. I don't know how that information helps me, but that teacher made us cram things. The other one was the physics teacher used to make. I think she taught us both physics and chemistry. Something about the velocity or something coming down. Everything that goes up, it must come down only.
I was in school like not for less than half. And if you ask me those things, I'll just smile.
You can remember all the things you cram.
I remember a mole is 6 billion atoms.
So what is amazing, the final thing about this report, we're just finishing the program. The amazing thing about this report is that it is going to make teachers miracle workers. If people have been calling you Mama Boto because your child is always the last one in class at the end of every term,
tell them a new date
is coming. These teachers, this state-of-the-art education is going to make every child pass. Every child in Kenya is going to be intelligent. Everybody's going to be at the front of the class.
You thought the US Army was one thing. The whole Kenyan Army will be marvelous.
Will be marvelous. You will not need a D. You will not need a D minimum to join the Kenyan Army, you know. And I remember when I was a teacher, the children in that school, most of their parents were traveling all over the world, and they brought them there and dumped them, so the children felt unloved. So I was teaching them Romeo and Juliet, but they were not interested. They didn't want to know that. They felt literature was too tough. This was a Form 4 class. And they said, you know, madam, don't try too hard. Nobody has ever passed in this school. And for real, nobody had ever passed in that school. So we decided to act out, you know, act the skate, you know. They wanted to talk about their boyfriends. They wanted to talk about their parents. They wanted to talk about their step-parents. They wanted to talk about how they're mistreated at home. They wanted to talk about getting married after school, you know. So I allowed them to talk about that. So we related their relationships, their personal experiences to what was in Romeo and Juliet, you know. So I just learned that some of these students had boyfriends in the army. Some of them had boyfriends, their father's best friends, you know. But the amazing thing is the whole class passed the exams. For the first time, we got A's in literature. I'm not praising myself. But when the headmaster of the school had the students laughing in class, he started coming and sitting at the back of the class, you know, to monitor what we were doing while the students were laughing. And so when the headmaster was in class, this was under CPE. When the headmaster was in class, we would quote Romeo and Juliet. Romeo, Romeo, where art thou, Romeo? But when the headmaster left, he was like, yes, so tell us about your boyfriend in the army. How can you ensure you finish school before it's over?
The goal is to relate.
The goal is to relate. Give the students something that makes them relate to the exam, you know, so they can remember in the exam.
That was missing a lot, and this goes to like the set books. Why set books can provide such an opportunity.
Yeah, and we'll be coming here to talk about, just say that again.
Set books have the opportunity to build creativity.
Yeah, so you know, Kumechacha, here we are so hot with the news that I just want to grab. We grab the news from each other's mouths before we even finish it, but we'll try and go slow. So Grace, what is going on? Any activities going on in the diaspora this week?
Yes, so Dear Awards, it's coming.
Dear Awards, big ups and big encouragement to Dr. Pam Obari Mogaka. You're doing a great job. Keep it up there.
And another thing that I saw is Africa Fest. It seems like a lot of events are happening in Virginia. Alexandria, Virginia, there's an Africa Fest, which is on September 8th, that is celebrating arts, culture, and African heritage. We have posted a flyer on it. We shared a flyer from it. It's on Tujipange Facebook. And it's bound to be a good time. So, please let us know, share to us, send us a message of the events that you're going to be having.
Yeah, so we can promote you here. We have the International Cultural Festival. I think it's September the 14th and 15th in Allentown. I think if you go to some of the Facebook pages, they have it posted. And check under Safari Yangu. And a big shout out to Nico Gutombei for the good job you're doing with Amnesty International. We appreciate the big fight for Cameroon right now. They're on the verge of death, like the country is dying. A lot of African countries are dying with our dictators, but there's great hope. I see a lot of young people coming up and wanting to stake a claim in the fight for freedom. And Uganda, Bobby Wine, and all that stuff going on, like it just makes one sick. But we want to give a big thumb up. You can fight for your neighbor, although some people were claiming that Kenyans are crying louder than the bereaved. Like they're demonstrating for Bobby Wine and not for their own corrupt government, not for Dr. Miguna, who was treated like a worse than a Kenyan dog, like a Sude. What is Sude in English? Like a wild dog. But we still appreciate any effort you make, whether you're supporting any dictatorship regime, any regime that treats people like trash, even if it's in another country, even if it's in the US and you support it, we appreciate you.
Build it.
So any words of goodbye to our readers?
Well, before we say goodbye, we received a few responses with regard to our coordinated outfits.
Yes.
And we say that these are ours.
Yes.
And we've got them from various locations.
Our personal clothes. Yeah, we didn't know people would want them.
Yes. But stay tuned. We may have new updates going down the line about where you can get them.
Yeah.
Any fashion designers out there, any fashion houses out there.
Yeah, if you have Kenyan traditional clothes that you want marketed, contact us and we'll show them off for you in Kumechacha and Tujipange Studios.
Lazima, people need to look beautiful. We need to appreciate our culture.
Yes, and please respect your mothers-in-law, your relatives who come to visit. Don't turn them into housemates. Don't call Homeland Security on them. So, Grace, we promised kutachacha na kulichacha. Kumechacha hapa studio. Kumechacha na breakfast. Kumechacha na maembe. Kumechacha na machungwa. Kumechacha na viazi, sweet potatoes. Kumechacha na French toast. Fried French toast. But above all, keep your priorities right. Do not get burnt out. Keep the fire burning. Kumechacha. Kumechacha. Kumechacha.
Kumechacha. Bye. Thanks for joining.